Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start our Sunday Gita class. Om Parthaye Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayan Swayam Vyasen Gratitam Puran Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritvashini Bhagavati Mashtadashadhyayane Am Tvam Anusandhame Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshini नमो अस्तु ते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे फुल अरविंद आयत पत्र नेत्र येन तव्या भारत तैल पूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमय प्रदीपः प्रपन्न पारिजाताये तोत्र वेत्र एकपानये ज्ञान मुद्राये कृष्णाये गीता अमृत दुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपाल नंदना पार्थो वत्सा सुधीर भोगता दुग्धम गीता अमृतम महत् वसुदेव सुतम देवम कंस चानूरमर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णम वंदे जगद्गुरुम भीष्म द्रोण तटा जयद्रथजला गांधार नीलोत्पला शल्ये ग्रावती कृपेन वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोर मकरा दुर्योधन अवर्तने सो तीर्णा खलु पांडवै रन नदी के वर्तका केशवा पाराशर्ये वत्सरोजमलम गीता अर्थगंधोटकम नानाख्यानक केसरम हरि कथा संबोधन अबोधितम लोके सज्जन षटपदय रह पेपिये मानम मुदा भूयाद भारत पंकजम कलिमल प्रध्वंसी न श्रेयसे मूकम करोति वाचालम पंगुम लंघ्यते गिरिम यत्कृपातमं वंदे परमानंद माधवम यम ब्रह्म वरुण इंद्र रुद्र मरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्येस्तवे वेदैः सांग पदक्रम उपनिषदै गायन्ति यम सामगा ध्यान अवस्थे तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यम योगिनो यस्यन्तं न विदुषुर असुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः. Let's open our Bhagavad Gita books. 18th chapter. In the verse number 64, Lord Krishna said, "Here again my supreme word." So he's talking to Arjuna. He says, most secret of all. Why? Because you are dearly beloved of me. Therefore, I will tell you what is good for you. Out of love. Okay. So now, what are those words which Lord Krishna wants Arjuna to listen carefully and follow? Verse number 65. Manvana bhav mad bhaktaha madhyaji mam namaskuru mam ev eshyasi satyam te pratijane priya asime manmana, thinking of me. That means with your mind fixed on me. See, mind is the one which thinks. So he says that mind of yours fixed on me. Bhav means be, mad bhakta, devoted to me. Madhyaji, worship to me, or sacrifice to me. Namaskuru, bow down to me. Mam means to me, even Eshyasi shall come, Satyam, truth. Te means to you, Pratijane, I promise. Priya, dear. Asi, you are, me, of me. Fix your mind upon me. Be devoted to me. Sacrifice to me. Bow down to me. You shall come surely then to me alone. He says, truly, I do promise to you. You are, because you are dear to me, that's why I'm promising this to you. We can see that there's a lot of repetition in the previous chapters also, in this chapter alone also. But this repetition is a systematic method adopted by all the scriptures. So any salient feature of the philosophy if it has to benefit the students, there has to be repetition. Otherwise, this depth does not reach the inside crevices of our own mind. Repetition. So 4 conditions are laid down for a successful seeker. And then he is giving us assurance of realization. When he says, you shall reach me, that means you will realize what the truth is. So it's almost like a summary of this philosophy is enumerated with just a few points. Somebody might say that it looks so simple. It's very deceptive. But student will take it too lightly or ignore it. He's just saying it that you will get self-realized. So in order to avoid such a mistake, Lord Krishna is saying, I promise you, truly. See, just like as a parent gives the assurance to the child. So as a parent, as a guru, he's saying that to us. But we have to fulfill those conditions. So Lord Krishna is guaranteeing us the motive behind our actions which we have, because we want to reach there. And he's giving his motive also for us to give us this beautiful plan. He says, my motive is because you are very dear to me. Love is the correct motive force behind all the spiritual teachings. Even the parents, when they guide the child, when they discipline the child, what is the motive behind? Love. The same way a guru loves the disciple. And this is what we read in these words over here. Unless a teacher has infinite love for the student, there's no inspired joy in the teachings. Because with the help of this love comes joyous ecstasy of satisfaction and fulfillment. Those are the true rewards of teaching. That's why a true teacher doesn't want anything. True teacher, see, Lord Krishna was not asking Arjun to pay or do anything. No. It's love. Loving the student, imparting the knowledge, there is a joy in it. And that's why he says it very clearly, because I love you. So with the mind fixed on me, this is the first thing he says, that means ever remembering me. But remember me devotedly, not out of fear. You got to identify with me through the process of dedicating all your activities unto me. That is the attitude of surrender. And that's what the sacrifice is when he says, Madhyaji, Mam Namaskuru. That's how we wash away all our old vasanas. How do we collect all the vasanas? With our own sakam karma. And he is telling us, with your selfless work, with the nishkam karma, you can end all your vasanas. That is like throughout Bhagavad Gita, he just kept telling us that. So he is advising us, act on with mind fixed on me. So do your duties, but mind fixed on God. Devotedly work for me. How do we know when we are working for God or not? When we don't jump up, success comes. And if it's a failure, we don't feel dejected because we did it for God. Doesn't matter. That is working for God. Result is his, not mine. Mine was only to do the action. Dedicate all your activities as a sacrifice, as an offering. to me. Offering, just give it to him. So this is an attitude of reverence to the Supreme, which is necessary in order to reincorporate into our own life. Every action of ours can be done like this. You shall reach me, reach Supreme. Now in the next verse, verse number 66, this is a most controversial verse in Bhagavad Gita. Because the translators, the reviewers, critics, commentators, they have commented on it differently. But let's look at it, how we understand it. Sarv dharman paritaje mam ekam sharanam vraj aham tva sarv papebhya mokshishyami ma shucha. I'm sure some of you have memorized this too. Sarv dharman, all dharmas, paritajye, having abandoned, mam, to me, ekam, alone, sharanam, refuge, vraj, take. Aham, I, tva means you, sarva papebhya, from all sins, mokshishyami, will liberate. Ma means not, shuchaha means grieve or fear. Abandoning all dharams, take refuge in me alone. I will liberate you from all sins. Grieve not. So this is the noblest of all the verses, if we understand it properly. Let's look at the term dharam first, because if we understand the dharam term properly, then this is very clear. Because that's where people differ, what the term dharam is. Dharam, the direct translation of dharam is the law of being. That is dharam. That because of which a thing continues to be thing itself. Or you can say without which the thing cannot continue to be that thing. We are human beings right now because of what? That is our dharam. Just like a heat is the dharam of a fire, sweetness is the dharam of sugar. So every object in the world has two types of properties, the essential and the non-essential. A substance can remain itself intact when the non-essential qualities are absent. But it cannot remain ever for a split moment without its essential property. Going back to the example of the fire, the non-essential property is the flame, or the color of the flame, or the size of the flame. Those are all non-essential properties. But the essential property is the heat. So this essential property of a substance is called its dharam. So dharam of a fire is a heat, not the flames, not the size of the flames, not the color of the flames. Those are non-essential. They are even called the tongues of a flame. So what exactly is the dharam of a human being? Is it the color of our skin? Or the endless emotions and thoughts? Or the capacities of our body, mind, and intellect? Those are all non-essential factors in a human personality. What is the essential dharam, essential property? You all know the Atma, the soul. Without Atma, a person cannot exist. So it is truth which is the basis of existence. So the essential dharma of a human being is the divine spark in us. So with this understanding of the dharma, when we read this verse, the message is very clear. To live truly as the Atma, to express its infinite perfection through all our activities, in all our contacts with the outer world, is to rediscover our dharma. The self is realized only when we have to withdraw our false identification with the body, mind, intellect. Nowhere Lord Krishna said so directly and openly about this truth than this verse. That's why this is it's almost like a capsule of truth. 3 distinct adjustments we got to do in our inner personality. He wants us to renounce all dharmas through meditation. And that's why when we meditate, when we do, we are in the Jnana Mudra. We are telling ourselves, recognizing that, remembering that I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect. So renounce all dharmas through meditation. Number 2, surrender to my refuge alone. And that can also be only during the state of meditation. And third is stop all worries. If we keep on worrying, we are not adjusting our inner self properly. There's always a little tremble in there otherwise with that worry. So we can start doing it for 15 minutes a day, half an hour a day. Follow what he's telling us to do all the time. Then slowly you'll see that you'll be working the world beautifully, doing your duties. Whether you are cleaning the floor or whether you are running a company, doesn't matter. It's not the action. Which action? It's your attitude. Renounce all dharmas through meditation. Surrender to my refuge alone while in the state of meditation. Stop all worries. 3 things. As a reward, Lord Krishna says, he's promising us that I shall release you from all sins. So this is a promise given to all mankind. Sins are all the obstacles on the path, they are called sins. So that means all the obstacles you'll be able to cross. You will be reaching the destination, the goal. So abandoning all dharma as a mortal, finite ego, the seeker is living due to our identification with them, the dharma of the body, mind, and intellect, we got to let go for a few minutes. Because these are not our essential dharmas. Those are non-essential dharmas. Our body, mind, intellect, those are non-essential properties. And that really means you're ending your ego. Ego is the wall between us and the God. So we are dropping that wall down. So at the seat of the meditation, we can apply this at least. The rest of the time, we can charter our way of life, basing our attitude towards various things, beings. We can bring our attention towards the sayings of Lord Krishna. Out of our meditation seat also, can we apply this or not? Can we remember who we are essentially? Can we remember God constantly? Can we just let go of our ego or not? But start at the meditation seat though. So to renounce means not to allow ourselves to fall again and again into the state of identification with the outer layers of the personality, which is also called the extrovert tendencies of the mind. Develop introspection diligently. This is a deep suggestion in this phrase when he says renouncing all dharma. He's not talking about different religions, because a lot of people, they think dharma means religion. No. Come to me alone for shelter, mam ekam sharnam vraja. So he's almost commending his devotees to come to his shelter. Renounce this temporary world. Renounce this false identification. And ma shucha, do not be grieved. Because when both the conditions are accomplished, a sadhak can reach a state of growing tranquility in meditation. And Lord Krishna, he wants the seeker to renounce all his anxieties to realize, will I reach there? Will I not reach there? Am I doing it right? He says, don't worry. Do what you are supposed to do. Leave the result to me. That's why he says, I shall release you from all sins. Sins are the one which bring agitations in our mind. Sins are the one, or the obstacles are the one which cause dissipation of the energies. That's why they are called obstacles or sins. Disturbing, thought gurgling, action prompting, desire breeding, agitation brewing vasanas are the sins. Remember that. Otherwise, mind will be calm. There's no turbulence in the mind. And only when there's no turbulence in the mind, you'll be able to see who you are. It is the most powerfully worded verses in Bhagavad Gita, I would say. If you want to memorize, this is the verse to memorize. Because all through the days of seeking, a sadhak can assure himself steady progress in spirituality only when he is able to keep within himself a mental climate of optimism. And that's what we see over here. Very optimistic assurance he is giving us. Because to despair, to weep, to feel dejected, disappointed, we are just inviting only restlessness of the mind. And in a restless mind, you cannot attain peacefulness. Okay? So I'm asked to repeat this verse again. The Sanskrit, I'm sure in Sanskrit. Sarva dharman paritajya. See, the way to read, sure, some people sing it, but I just only read it. And reading is, see, in Shalok there are 2 lines, and each line has 2 parts. So the first part of this is Sarva dharman paritajya. The second part, Mam ekam sharnam vraja. Then the second line, Aham tva sarva papebhya mokshishyami Ma Shucha. Okay, whether you want to sing it or say it, but try to memorize and know the meaning also. And remember, Lord Krishna these are his words, his assurance. He's telling us what to do. And if you do that, he says, you will get liberated. Moksha. That is the goal for all of us. Moksha Shyame Mashucha. Do not be afraid about that. Don't have any anxiety about it. But now, in the next few verses, Lord Krishna is stating a rule that should be borne in mind while imparting this knowledge to others. Because whenever we have something so good, so profound, we want to share it with others. We get excited about it. And that is very natural. And we should do that too. But to give this kind of a message to somebody else, there are some requirements. So let's see what he says. Verse number 67. Idam tena atapaskaya na abhaktaye kadachana na cha anushushvehe vachyam na cha mam ya abhisuyati. Idam means this. Te means by you. Na means not. Atapaskaya. The one who is devoid of austerity. See, tapasya is the austerity. Tapasya is who is not doing austerities. That means who is not trying to control his life from the wrong tendencies. Na means not. Abhagataye, to one who is not devoted, who is not a bhagat, who doesn't love me. Kadachan, never. Na means not. Cha means and. Shurshave. Or one who desires not to listen. So that means do not force it on other people. Somebody says, I don't have a need for it. Why you want to tell them? Shurshave. Who does not want to listen or who doesn't even do any service. Okay? Vachyam, to be spoken. Na means not, cha means and, ma means me, ya means who, abhyasuyati, talks ill of me, cavils at me. Okay? This is never to be spoken by you to one who is devoid of austerities or devotion. Not to one who does not render service, not to one who desires not to listen, not to one who talks ill of me. So this verse tells us of those who cannot be benefited by the study of Bhagavad Gita. So we should not waste our time. Because otherwise what will happen, we try to tell somebody, they will feel agitated, and the effect of that will reach us also. We might slip on our path too. They say it's no good. It was written 5,000 years ago. How is it applicable today? Don't tell to those people. Those who do not live an austere life, that is the first requirement. That means a person who doesn't have a control over their body or mind, they continuously dissipating their physical and mental energies in the wrong direction, it will not benefit them. Because tap is a plan actually. You know what the tap consists of? Through tapasya, we conserve all the energies which gets wasted. So we economize our energy through tapasya. When we say that, no, I want to do tapasya, I want to eat only once a day. So you are not wasting your energy cooking, cleaning, thinking what I'm going to eat. So conservation of all the energy is done through tapasya. So number 2 is you are trying to preserve that energy which got saved. So energy is the time also. Energy is your vital energies also. So you did not spend it, then you saved it. You saved that time and the energy. So conservation and preservation, and then what do you do with that? That's the third step of tapasya. Redirection and re-employing of this newfound energy during your meditation. These are the 3 steps. So if a person is not practicing tapa, they are not really fit to court and gain the loving embrace of the words of Lord Krishna. This is a very first qualification for a seeker or a student. Life of a tapasvi. And the second thing he says, those who have no devotion. That means those who do not have the capacity to identify themselves with the ideal they want to reach. That's a devotion. We want to become one with God. Because in essence, we are part of Him. That is love. We want to emulate Him. We want to act like Him. We want to be like Him. That's love. Number 3, he says, those who do not render service. We have seen earlier that Lord Krishna again and again insists that selfless activity is not only a means for the sadhak, but it is at once, it's like a field where those perfect masters have discovered their fulfillment. Selfless service. That's why we see all the saints, all the gurus, why do they keep on teaching us? Why do they keep on serving us day and night? And this is what we need to do too. Seekers who are not able to serve others, who are selfish, who have no virtues, they fail to understand the real joy. So selfless service. Then he says, those who murmur against me. In other words, who are not able to respect this philosophy, why you want to waste your time? My own Guruji used to say, if you're in a company of people, they talk against yoga or your guru, leave that company right away. It's like a poison. You don't want the poison to enter through your ears. And this is exactly Lord Krishna is saying over here. He says, don't even teach this to a person who murmurs against me. Religion should not be forced upon anyone. This is what I read from here. We cannot force anybody, but if somebody is ready to learn, somebody is willing to or shows respect, go out of your way to teach them. One who has mentally rejected a philosophy can never understand it. How can a person live up to it? So if somebody is holding a secret disrespect for a philosophy, should not be forced to study it. Keep that in mind. So these kind of verses, now next few verses also, they are meant as instructions for the students on how to attune themselves properly. So we can learn also from here. If you want to grow with this philosophy, we got to have these qualities too. It's not only for the teacher, it's for the students also. We got to readjust our personality. And this readjustment of the personality cannot be done overnight. There's no miracles promised in Bhagavad Gita. It is a sadhana. It is a path we are walking on, and we keep on walking, keep on polishing ourselves. And what benefits will accrue to a person who hands down his knowledge to others in the society? So keeping all this, a person who can impart this knowledge to others, what will happen? Because he is encouraging that too, that we should share it. Ya imam paramam guhyam mad bhakteshu abhidasyati bhaktim mei param kritva mam ev eshyati asanshaya. This is verse number 68. Ya means who? Imam this. Paramam supreme. Guhyam secret. Mad bhakteshu, my devotees. Abhidasyati, teach or shall declare. Bhaktim, devotion, may in me, Ram, supreme, Kritva, having done. Mam, to me, Ev means even, Eshyati, shall come, Asanshaya, doubtless. See, Sanshaya means doubt, Asanshaya, doubtless, no doubt about it. So in this verse, Lord Krishna is declaring the consequence of properly preaching the message of the Bhagavad Gita. He who, with supreme devotion to me, will teach this supreme secret to my devotees, shall doubtlessly come to me. So this verse and the following verse are like a glorification of a teacher who can give the correct interpretation of Bhagavad Gita. So he is encouraging us to impart this knowledge to others. First, he says, deeply profound philosophy, paramam guhyam. So it should be imparted to my devotees, mad bhakteshu. So means that capacity to identify with the ideal, the philosophy of the ideal way of life. Only then we can get some profit from it. So it is not sufficient that the student alone has this capacity to identify himself with the higher ideal. But the teacher also. Teacher must have the bhakti. Teacher should not become arrogant that I'm better than the students. Teacher should have a perfect attunement with the Supreme. So that means a teacher should be rooted in his attunement. Only then can impart this knowledge to others. Shall certainly come to me alone. So this is the correct spirit of the Upanishadic tradition also. When the young students went to the Rishi in the Gurukuls or in the Guru's ashram, so it was a parting advice of the teacher to the students. He told them, practice, study the scriptures, but continuously carry this torch of knowledge to others also. Among the masses, wherever you go, you will be householders or you could be renunciates, but carry the torch. Because when we learn something, we have a debt. Guru doesn't want anything back. Rishis don't want anything back. All they say is, study what I taught you. Spread this knowledge to others. That's all they want. That's how we pay back the Rishi rin, the debt towards the Rishis. Philosophy is the basis of every culture. The Hindu culture can revive and assert its glory only when it's nurtured and nourished by this philosophy. So we have to understand it, and then we got to spread it. If a student who has understood even a bit of this cultural tradition does not convey it to others, it means that there's no mobility of intelligence or fluidity of inspiration. It's almost like water which does not flow. What the stagnant water, what happens to it? There is a smell in it. It becomes dirty. Only a flowing water is a fresh water. So if you are capable of conveying the truths of the Gita to others, he's complimenting that. That's why he is promising us a highest reward, actually. If we can impart this knowledge to others, he shall doubtlessly come to me. And that's our goal. We want to become one with God. What would be a better way to reach our goal? Practice and spread. But if we keep on only spreading and not practicing, then we are called non-practicing preachers. We don't want to be those. We want to practice. Again, going back to the Guruji, he used to say, if you have not practiced neti, pranayam, asanas, you don't have any right to teach to others that day. And the same thing goes for the truths of Bhagavad Gita also. See, just like today we learned about tapasya. Not just talk about tapasya. Am I living a life of a tapasvi or not? Because that is a very first qualification. Even Rishi Patanjali, when he talked about the Kriya Yoga, the very first word he said out of those three parts of Kriya Yoga, tap, swadhyaya, ishwar pranidhan. So tapasya is a very elementary qualification. So we got to look at our life. Is it a tapasvi's life or not? The yogi's life is a tapasvi's life. And not only this, but Lord is expressing that he loves such a teacher much more than everybody else. And we'll see that next week with verse number 69. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Visheshyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.